Some leaders live for power, some for prestige, and some for wealth. But one leader found greatness in simplicity. So honor in public service and believe in nation prosperity was his true wealth. His honesty, his humility, and patriotism touched millions of hearts. Lal Bahadur Shastri was one of the India's most important leaders. He was known for his being humble, honest, and always working for good of his country. He was born on October 2nd, 1904, in a small town called Mughalsarai, near Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. His life story shows that true leaders don't need to be powerful or rich, but should have a strong character and deep love for their people. He started from a very simple background and became the second Prime Minister of India. Even though he was a Prime Minister for a short time, he made a big impact. His early life and learning. Shastri's childhood was tough. His father, Sarda Prasad Srivastava, who was a school teacher, passed away when Lal Bahadur Shastri was only about 1.5 years old. This meant his mother, Ramdulari Devi, had raised her three children all by herself, facing many difficulties. The family went to live with his grandfather. Young Lal Bahadur went to school there because they didn't have much money. He often had to walk many miles to school. Sometimes he even swam across the big Ganga River to avoid paying for the boat. This early experience helped him understand what it was like to be poor and made him feel deeply for people who were struggling. This feeling stayed with him throughout his life and shaped his work as a leader. He was a quiet but smart student when he was growing up. The movement for India's freedom from British rule was gaining strength. Lal Bahadur was only 16 years old when he heard Mahatma Gandhi's call protest against British. He decided to leave his studies in 1921 to join the fight for freedom. This big decision, made because he loved his country so much, changed his life completely and put him on a path of public service. Because he was so dedicated to the freedom movement, he went to Kasi Vidyapit in Varanasi. This was a special school built to give education without British control. Here, he got his degree in philosophy and ethics. And that's when he added Shastri to his name, which means a scholar or learned person. During this time, he learned a lot about Gandhi's idea truth, peaceful protest, non-violence, and being able to rely on oneself. Joining politics and fighting for freedom. After finishing his education, Shastri started working actively for India's freedom. People quickly noticed his organizing skill and his strong commitment. He joined a group called the Servant of the People Society, which was started by famous leader named Lala Lajpat Rai. This group gave him a way to fully dedicate himself to helping society and working for a political change. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, Shastri was a key part of many non-violent protests. He joined the salt protest, Namak Satyagraha in 1930, leading demonstration and organizing people because he went against British rules. He was arrested many times and spent time in a jail. Every time he was jailed, it only made him stronger and more determined to see India become free. He spent a lot of his young life in a prison, where he learned more about politics and understood what the people of India truly wanted. His quiet but effective way of leading caught the eye of important leaders in the Congress party, like Jawaharlal Nehru. He moved up in the Congress party, often working behind the scene to to make sure the party runs smoothly and keep things in order. He was very good at bringing people together and solving disagreements, which made him very valuable to the party. What he did after India became free. When India became independent in 1947, Shastri's skill is running thing became very clear. He was the first made a parliamentary secretary in his home state of Uttar Pradesh. Soon after, he became the Minister for Police and Transport in the state. In this job, he made important changes. He helped replace the old police on horses with more modern system. And amazingly, he was the first to order the police to use a water cannon instead of lathis to control crowd. This showed his belief in using a gentle method when dealing with people. His time as a minister in Uttar Pradesh prepared him for a bigger role in the whole country. In 1951, Jawaharlal Nehru asked Shastri to join the government in Delhi. For the next 10 years, he held many important jobs, showing that he could handle different kinds of work and run things very well. Minister for Railways 1951 to 1956. As the Minister for Railways, Shastri made several changes to make the huge Indian railway system better and safer. However, his time in this job ended sadly in 1956 when a big train accident happened in Ariyalur, Tamil Nadu. Over 140 people died. Shastri immediately took responsibility for the accident and offered to resign from his job. This act of taking full moral responsibility was a very unusual in Indian politics and set a high example for public servants. Nehru at first didn't want him to resign, but Shastri insisted, saying it would be good for the country if I resign. His resignation was praised by everyone as an amazing example of honesty and ethical leadership. Other important roles. After a short break, Shastri came back to the government. He worked in various important positions. He was the Minister for Transport and Communications, then Minister for Commerce and Industries, and finally Minister for Home Affairs. He continued to make an important contribution. In the Home Ministry, he helped set up a group to prevent corruption, which was a big problem in public life. He also played a key role in solving arguments and keeping the country united during the difficult times. His quiet way of getting things done and his ability to calm down tense situations made him Nehru's trusted helper for tough problems. Becoming a prime minister. When Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru suddenly passed away on May 27, 1964, India faced an uncertain future. Nehru had not clearly chosen who would be lead after him, which led a guessing and competition within the Congress party. Even though there were other leaders who were more well known and wanted the job, it was Lal Bahadur Shastri who was chosen by everyone. People trusted him because he was not a controversial, had a reputation for being honest, understood how the Congress party worked, and could bring different groups together. K. Kamraj, who was the head of the Congress party at that time, played a very significant role in making sure Shastri became a prime minister smoothly. On June 9, 1964, Lal Bahadur Shastri took an oath and became a second Prime Minister of India. He became the leader of the country facing many problems, continued poverty, not enough food, and a border dispute with Pakistan. In his first day as a Prime Minister, he showed a quiet determination to deal with these urgent issues. His strong belief and simple life. Shastri's way of leading was a very different from Nehru's style. He was modest, spoke softly, and believed in practical solutions. He quickly understood that India's most important needs were having enough food and strong defense for the country. This idea led him to create his famous slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, which means hail the soldiers and hail the farmers. This powerful phrase showed him dream for India that could support itself, where the country's strength came from its farmer growing food and its soldier protecting its border. Example of his honesty and simplicity. Shastri lived a very simple life, even when he was a high ranking minister. Once, when he was a minister, his family asked him for a water cooler during a hot summer. He agreed, but only if it was bought from his own money, not government funds. When he found out the cost was more than he could afford, he told his family they couldn't buy it. Another famous example of his honesty about his car. He took a bank loan to buy a small Fiat car, which was quite humble for a prime minister. He was still paying off this loan when he passed away. This showed how he kept his personal and government finance completely separate and lived without any show of luxury. Under his leadership, significant steps were taken to grow more food. He started plan that would later become a foundation of green revolution. This was a time when India produced much more food, charging the country from one that didn't have enough food to one that had extra. He encouraged farmers to use new farming methods, better seeds, and more irrigation system. He focused on farming because he believed that being able to produce all its own food was key for national independence and a strong economy. In the 1965 war with Pakistan, Shastri's short time as a prime minister is most remembered for the war with Pakistan in 1965. The fighting started when Pakistan tried to send fighters into Kashmir to cause trouble. When that didn't work, Pakistan started a full-scale attack. Even though Shastri was a man of peace, he showed a great strength and made a big decision when India was attacked. His leadership during the war was firm and inspiring. He made it so very clear that India would not be scared and would use all its power to protect its land. He allowed the Indian army to cross the border in Punjab to reduce the pressure on Kashmir. This was a brave and smart move that surprised Pakistan. His strong stand greatly increased the confidence of the army and brought the whole country together. Throughout the war, Shastri stayed calm and steady. He made an important decision that eventually led to a ceasefire, which was arranged by the United Nations. His strong will and his ability to unite the country for a common goal were key to India defending itself. During the war, Pakistan's President Ayub Khan made a boastful statement. He reportedly said that Pakistan forces were so strong they would have breakfast in Karachi and dinner in Delhi, meaning they would quickly conquer India's capital. When Prime Minister Shastri heard this, he calmly but firmly responded that we will have dinner in Lahore. This short and powerful reply showed India's strong resolve and made it clear that India would fight back and not to be defeated. It truly boosted the spirit of the Indian people and its soldiers. The Tashkent Agreement and its sad passing. Following the ceasefire, a peace agreement was needed to end the conflict. Shastri went to Tashkent, which was the Soviet Union at that time, for talks with Pakistani President Ayub Khan. The talks were led by Soviet Premier Alexei Kosygin. The discussions were intense, and at first, neither side wanted to give in. On January 10, 1966, Tashkent Declaration was signed. This agreement said that all the armies would go back to where they were before August 5, 1965, and the normal relation between the two countries would start again. This was a big success for India in diplomacy, bringing peace while keeping its land safe. However, just a few hours after signing the agreement, Lal Bahadur Shastri sadly passed away in Tashkent. He had a heart attack. His sudden death at the age of 61 shocked India and the rest of the world. The unsolved mystery. Even today, there is a big mystery around his death. His body was not examined by the doctor, no postmortem in Tashkent, which is unusual for such a high profile death. When his body arrived in India, some people close to him noticed blue marks or cuts on his body, which added to the confusion. Also, his personal thermostat and tea kettle were reportedly missing from his room. Many questions were asked over the years. Even official requests for information called RTI application have not given clear answer. Because of these reasons, the real cause of death remains a mystery that is still unsolved today. The official cause is still listed as a heart attack. He was the prime minister who couldn't afford his children's school fees, who kept his daughter's wedding simple, who refused to misuse public money, who stood in ration line with a common man, who stayed hungry so the nation could eat. Such a man is not just a prime minister, he is a moral icon. This century, this country, and all generations to come will never forget the champ that was a Lal Bahadur Shastri. What we remember about him. Lal Bahadur Shastri's death was a great loss for India. In his short time as a prime minister, only 19 months, he left a lasting mark on the country. We remember him for honesty and strong character. When he resigned as a railway minister, he set a truly high example for how honest a public servant should be. His personal honesty and simple lifestyle were exemplary. Strong leadership. Even though he was a gentle, he showed himself to be a firm and decisive leader, especially during the 1965 war. He proved that real strength is not about being aggressive, but about taking a principled stand for what is right for the country, caring for ordinary people. His slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, perfectly showed his idea of an India made strong by its farmer and protected by its soldiers. His focus on India producing its own food laid the groundwork for the country and to have enough food in the future. Being humble and simple, Shastri remained down to earth throughout his life. He didn't like fancy ceremonies and preferred to live simple and connect direct with people. His humility was a welcome change from often larger than life figure in Indian politics. Shastri was given India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna, after his death in 1966. His life continued to inspire us, reminding us that being a leader means serving others, making sacrifice, and always working for the good of the nation. His quiet voice had immense spark. His small body had a great courage, and his short time as a prime minister brought a great achievements. Lal Bahadur Shastri truly lived up of his name, a scholar and a champion, who guided India throughout a very important time with wisdom, honesty, and deep love as the man who lived truth with courage, who made simplicity his crown, who carried the nation not in his word but in his breath, in his every heartbeat. Truly, he was not just a leader, he was just a symbol of honesty. Lal Bahadur Shastri, not just a name, but a never ending source of inspiration. From the story of this great man, we can not only practice English listening and speaking, but can also learn the way of living life. How a person coming from a ground level reached the highest position in the country with his simplicity and authenticity and received the highest honor of the country. The life of Lal Bahadur Shastri will remain a source of inspiration for all of us. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.